Poor communication in the operating theatre is a growing problem which can easily be changed. My name is Annabelle Kavanagh and I'm a third year nursing student, and I will be outlining the importance of leadership in regards to improving communication and the importance for us as new graduate nurses to stand up, empower each other, and to ensure patient safety and a healthy workplace. The operating theatre involves a high level of concentration over long hours, which runs at a fast pace. Staff can be stressed, fatigued, and tired, which can give rise to conflict and tension, contributing to an error-prone based environment. Why is poor communication a problem? Staff within the operating theatre work within multiple combinations of teams every single day. However, the problem is that everyone is dressed the same and their faces are covered with a surgical mask and hat. It has been proven that over 31% of all communications within the operating theatre could be categorised as a failure and have a negative effect on what is happening. In the state of an emergency, precious seconds can be wasted when clinicians and nurses don't use their names of their colleagues or their roles. The attire which theatre staff wear is a barrier to achieve optimal safe communication. Poor communication is a root cause of nearly 70% of thousands of adverse events. In relation to patient safety, as everyone dresses the same, a surgeon might accidentally ask a wardsman instead of a nurse to prepare adrenaline during a cardiac arrest. This outlines why poor communication is a problem as it increases the risk for error. It creates delays, it is insufficient, creates tension in the workplace, reduces trust to build a strong team. This essentially decreases patient safety and creates an unhealthy workplace for staff to develop positive relationships. So, what is being done about it? The World Health Organization's surgical checklist includes a guideline which requires staff to introduce themselves prior operation. However, this doesn't always happen due to lack of time and being slack with policy. It has been proven that only 30% of humans recall names after first introduction. Using one's name not only increases trust, work engagement, but it enhances loop-based communication, which is optimal for teamwork and allows staff to double-check their actions. Which is why there is an alternative option. The answer is so simple, and it makes so much sense for our staff to have their names and their roles printed on their scrub hats. However, less than 1% of staff do this. But how and why does labelled hats mean anything to our nursing practice? It is important as future nurses that we are able to think critically, assessing, analysing and using the best available evidence to ensure safe, quality nursing practice. Labelled reusable hats do make a huge difference to communication, and here is the evidence which outlines its importance to nursing. Well, firstly, it is policy that healthcare staff must display their name and role for others to see. Secondly, wearing named hats increases name call from 42% to 85%, which increases performance from 35% to 90%. This strong evidence outlines that labelled hats make it easier to communicate with staff, strengthen teamwork, and simultaneously create a safer environment which is optimal for patient care. Effective team communication is a central component of nursing to ensure adequate preparation for surgery as well as create a constructive team culture where staff feel comfortable to use closed-loop communication skills with name call and give rise to concerns to avert all errors. Thirdly, in terms of infection control, there have been many studies which outline that reusable scrub hats show lower particle counts and have a significant lower microbial shedding at the sterile field. For example, a study with 1,543 patients where 39% of staff wore disposable hats and 61% wore reusable hats. Overall, post-site infection occurred was 8%, with no correlation or significant difference identified between reusable hats versus disposable. Fourthly, it is estimated that in a 20-theatre hospital, there is approximately 100,000 disposable hats which are thrown away each year. This equates to $20,000 each year, which the hospitals could be allocating this money elsewhere to improve hospital standards. And fifth, a survey was taken and 88% of patients agreed that they would feel more comfortable being able to read the name and the role of staff in the theatre prior to being intubated, especially for patients that are having a cesarean or a cataract, who are awake throughout the procedure. And at the end of the day, it is about what the patient wants, making them feel comfortable and safe at the centre of our care. However, despite all this evidence and the benefits of wearing labelled theatre caps, why is it that only 1% of staff have adopted this? As new graduates, we have an advantageous platform to enter the workforce with fresh eyes. Skills which contribute to successful teamwork come hand in hand with effective communication. It is too often that patient care suffers when healthcare providers poorly communicate between each other. Hence, as new graduates, we can use this information and be leaders in healthcare. Being effective leaders involve influencing each other in a positive way. It is about supporting and empowering one another, being honest and open, and coordinating each individual with the right tools and resources to achieve a common goal. In order to shift this conventional way of thinking from disposable hats to reusable hats, the answer is for effective leadership to empower and educate others. New studies publish that minority needs to reach just 25% of the population in order to convert respective groups to a mutual agreement. Wearing label hats is such a simple concept, which only increases positive communication, which enhances productivity, teamwork, environmental factors with no extra cost. According to the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australian Standards, it is a responsibility and within our scope of practice as new graduate nurses to abide by their standards. As Standard 1 states, to think critically and analyse nursing practice and contribute to quality improvement and relevant research, which labelled hats do actually embody. As well as Standard 6, to provide safe, appropriate nursing practice and identify potential and actual risk-related system issues where practice is well below expected standards, which disposable unlabelled hats pose a threat to poor communication. ACON, which are a perioperative practice evidence-based recommendation who aim to deliver safe perioperative patient care and achieve workplace safety. They even outline that in theatres, scalp, sideburns, facial hair, ears and the nape of the neck must be completely covered by a surgical cover, disposable or reusable hats to minimise microbial dispersal. Which I pose the question to you. If you or a family member were on the operating table, intubated, having complete trust in the health professionals to do their job, would you want them to risk your life by communicating poorly and using the wrong name or instructing the wrong person to conduct a task? A health team which feels shy or nervous to speak up due to forgetting someone's name or role? Or would you rather health professionals wearing named hats which is easier to communicate and develop strong working teams, allowing us to engage with each other, develop plans and pick up on any possible risk or problems, ensuring a positive, healthy workspace where we can support and empower our colleagues? A survey was completed, pre-wearing labelled hats and post-wearing labelled hats, where you evidently see the increased number of health professionals who felt more comfortable raising concerns during surgery when they were wearing labelled hats. This makes it for health professionals to be leaders and speak up on issues as well as support one another. There aren't any legal nor ethical boundaries which prevent this from becoming standardised, but rather it is our legal obligation to abide by the policy according to New South Wales, to have our name and our role visible. Simultaneously, it is nurses' ethical obligation and responsibility to advocate for safe practice. Adopting named hats simultaneously aligns with the Code of Ethics for nurses. Beneficence, above all, do good. Labelled hats only improves positive communication. And non-maleficent, above all, do no harm. Reusable hats aren't a threat to infection control, but in the best interest of the patient's safety. The only thing preventing this from happening is the hierarchical design of the operating theatre and people not wanting to adopt change. As new graduate nurses, we can be a part of a movement to begin change. The hashtag TheatreCap Challenge creates an online support where individuals from various hospitals globally have recognised the need for better communication. This movement isn't about telling people what to do, but rather joining together as nurses, doctors, anaesthetists, cleaners to create a safer environment for patients and ensure patient safety globally. I hope that this PowerPoint has demonstrated that we can all be leaders in healthcare by empowering and educating others on issues that they might not be aware of. By doing this, as future nurses, we will be able to enhance communication and create stronger relationships. I hope that the illustrations, statistics, and evidence-based information from this presentation will guide your decision when next being in the operating theatre. I believe we can all wear labelled hats and look like mad hatters, but only if we do it together.